Hey everybody, welcome back. It's me, Teri Hunter. For those of you that are just joining my channel, I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guide, and empowerment coach, and I'm here with this week's Messages from Your Angels by Astrological Sign. If you'd like to learn more about me, my services, or to book a private session, just go down into the information below. My contact information is there. Please feel free to give me a call, or a text, or an email, whatever is most convenient for you. Before we get started today, I wanted to just let you all know that Venus has done her official retrograde. She is now traversing back through Scorpio down towards Libra, and we'll be experiencing this for the next couple of months. But over the next few days, Venus is squaring Mars in that traveling, and that is a little bit of a challenging energy. You might find people being more irritable, more cranky, more reactionary, less warm and fuzzy in their communication, more like just wanting to get to the point. Try to be patient. This will pass, but it does have, we tend to lose our consciousness during this time and just sort of react. So if someone does that to you, try not to mirror their behavior. Okay, the next thing I want to say is when you're checking your weekly forecasts, be sure to check your rising sign and your moon as well. For a man, it's the rising, then the sun, then the moon. And then for a woman, it's the rising sign, the moon, and then the sun. And then if you braid the three together, you can get a clearer picture of what Spirit is saying for you this week moving forward. These are the three most personal planets and represent who and what we are and how we walk through the world. Okay, let's jump into Aries. Well, Xana is our first angel. She jumped right out of the deck there. Okay, and our second is Azure. Our third is Aurora. And our final angel is Isaiah. Okay, Aries. So, Xana is a card that represents being protected. And for me, it's rarely about physical protection per se, but more about emotional and spiritual protection. And saying that really, you know, the stresses that we've been feeling over this last summer, the chaotic energy that was represented through Mars retrograde, Saturn retrograde, you know, Uranus is retrograde, Neptune's retrograde, everybody's retrograde. We are really through the thick of it. There's always going to be some sort of challenge that comes up, and Spirit and the angels want you to know that you are safe and to just relax and sort of settle into a calmer space. It's been really kind of busy for y'all, Aries. I have Azure in the opportunity or the obstacle. She says your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. You know, when we really try to push ourselves towards a goal, oftentimes we're purporting a resistant energy without realizing it. So we're kind of standing in negativity. It's that faith that lets us sit back and relax a little bit, like Xana tells us, to feel safe. Because as we put that intention out there and we can really feel that intention, feel that faith that says, you know, it's not an if, it's a when. It's a when. Because I have Aurora in the angel's advice saying you're flying high right now, which may threaten others. And I don't mean literally threaten them. I mean, you know, sometimes people who love us, they try to figure out how we're going to do what we want to do, and they can't figure it out, so they feel fear for us, and they get scared. And as you hold the line, like Azure is telling you, it's interesting, Azure and Aurora are wearing essentially the same outfit, and they're both leaping off of like a balcony into their futures, into their dreams. So I really want to offer that, because in the final position is Isaiah saying it's a good time to give birth to new ideas, new situations, new dynamics in your life. And as you give life to those dynamics, one of your jobs, Aries, is to start to walk the talk, I guess, is what I kind of want to say. You're action-oriented, you're initiative, you're enthusiastic. I don't know what's going on with the lighting right now because I'm not moving. There's just some weird thing going on. But anyway, you really do have all that fun, initiative, entrepreneurial energy going on. So allow yourself to sort of sit back and muse about the potentials and about how it would feel once you're sitting in those potentials. And then let Spirit sort of open a door to show you what the next step is. Okay, let's go on to Taurus. There must be something about the fan above me that's messing with the lighting. Sorry, guys. Okay, Taurus, what is up for you? Oh, you know what I wanted to tell everybody, I guess Aries might have missed out on this, is that October 10th, 2018, and October 11th, 2018, when you reduce it down, is 11111. Ones represent our thoughts. They represent what we're putting focused, concentrated, emotional thought towards. It manifests very, very quickly. And if this Mars-Venus thing is spiking you and you're angry and you're putting a lot of intention in that, course correct. Do your best to go to the next highest level of thought or of feeling, because you may find yourself tumbling towards a pattern of thought that you don't want to go down. And this is a real opportunity for you to see that you can distract yourself and you can pull yourself and your thought in another direction, even if it's only for a minute. You know, it doesn't have to be, kumbaya all the time. It's just being able to grab those little moments, being aware of our thoughts, and then are they serving our bigger intention and the things that we want? Okay, let's go on to Taurus now. Okay. All right, Taurus. First card is Astera. The second is Archangel Michael. The third is Celeste. And the final is Rochelle. Oh, fun. Yummy, warm, fun. Love it. Okay, so Astera says reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires, and don't compromise. And when she's saying don't compromise, it's not about being stubborn in an energy. It's about not dumbing down the version you have of yourself, because you may not know how it'll happen, how it'll show up, what will, your experience may say one thing. I always date this kind of guy, or I always end up with this amount of money in my bank account. Well, when you stop concentrating on that dynamic, when you pay attention to the dual thought, every thought is two thoughts. The first is the inspired thought, and the second is the dominant thought. How are we going to get there? Where is it going to come from? And when we just try to strategize. And I'm not saying we should not have a plan. It's just the way we have the plan. It can often come from fear. It can often come from an uninsured place. Archangel Michael is asking you to have the courage to move towards what Astera is saying, to reach for the things that you want. Now I have Celeste in the Angel's advice in direct relation to Archangel Michael. That Celeste represents a move to a new job or a new home. But for me, ultimately, how I think is where I live. You can take me across the street. You can take me to Europe. I'm still going to process things the way that I have and the way that I've learned throughout my life. So it is the things that I believe that I take my actions on. So I think Archangel Michael is asking all of my Tauruses to have the courage to maybe think a little differently, to open up their options, to not always go down the old path and the old story. Because I have Rochelle in the final position, and she says, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you. To me, this card really represents harmonious wealth. It's where it's not just about money, because there's plenty of people that have bags and bags of money and they're miserable. True happiness comes from feeling fulfilled and feeling purposeful and feeling like we are creating our lives. We are actually steering our own ships. So as we reach for the stars, and then we turn over our fears and we thank Archangel Michael for making us brave. Thank you for making me braver and braver to step into my truth. Then you'll start to see evidence that that is actually coming into play. And if you bang up against something, Taurus, and it just keeps being a roadblock, that's a message. That's a message. Step out. Give it some air, and let's see if something shifts. And if it doesn't, pay attention. Okay, let's go on to Gemini. All right, Gemini. What's up? Okay. First card is Angel is Serena. The second is Akasha. The third is Maya. And the final is Rosetta. I kind of got this flash that Gemini's been worried about money a lot lately. And I mean that I feel like this has been a sort of a repetitive pattern for Gemini for the last few weeks or so, because I have Serena in the in the foundational position. She is a card straight up of money, resources, things that help us in the material world move our story forward. And she's saying that the money that you need, the resources that you need are coming, but God is in charge of how that will happen. And I was just talking to Taurus about that very dynamic. Every thought is two thoughts. And if anybody doesn't know that, that's Gemini knows it for sure. So how often are you in your inspired dynamic, and how often are you pushing a rock uphill trying to figure out how you're going to get there? Because I really feel like Gemini as a whole is going on a huge stretch, and they're being taught by spirit about their energy. And when you put a tremendous amount of emotional energy into your fears, there will become some sort of evidence that fears are realistic, that your fears are practical, but they're not. They're only there to serve to push past them so that you can feel the power of recognizing your fear, pulling away from it, and going, well, maybe not. Maybe that's just a story I'm telling myself, and we don't really know what's happening yet. Maybe I should get back in the present moment, because right now everything is kind of okay. I really feel like Gemini is going to school right now, because here I have Maya, the card of schooling and study, and Akash is a spiritual teacher. You know, it's kind of spirit. Your opportunity is to learn and to solidify within yourself that you are being supported, and that any disruption that comes through on some level is illusionary because of the massive focus going that direction, because I have Rosetta in the final position. When I talk to a large collective, and for all I know, there's hundreds of you watching, I don't know how many people see this, but when we have a childlike innocence about money, about resources, and we look at it and we don't try to hoard it, because hoarding is scarcity, hoarding is lack, hoarding is the opposite. It'll actually pinch your money off. So I'm not telling you to go spend your last dime. I'm just saying that when you do spend your money, enjoy it. And when you save your money, enjoy it. It's kind of the dual thing, Gemini, the dual thing. Okay, let's go on to Cancer. What is up for my Cancers this week? All right. Our first angel is Celeste. Our second angel is Daniel. The third is Serena. And the final is Rochelle. Okay, so I want to be a Cancer now. Hello. You guys just got the greatest spread ever. So Celeste in the foundational position will talk about a move to a new place of employment or a new job. And that could be highly likely for many of you. I say that because I have Daniel, the angel of marriage, in the opportunity of the obstacle. And that is a card of partnership. But I also want to go back to the idea that Celeste also, for me, represents my mind and the way I think. And that happy move is not because I moved to a new place across the street or to a new job, because I'm going to kind of filter things the same way wherever I am. But I've come to some sort of reconciliation within myself that is bringing me to this place of feeling at peace with the dynamics that are going on. Because I have Daniel, the angel of marriage, in the opportunity or the obstacle, but I don't necessarily think that's talking about intimate partnerships. I actually think that's talking about marrying the two sides of yourself. You know, the part of you that wants something, and the part of you that's scared that if you want it so badly, you won't get it. And the part of you that is working on the dynamic of shifting your mind to being more reflective of believing in fairy tales, and that what you want will come to fruition. Because in the angel's advice in relation to Daniel, I have the angel of abundance in the form of Serena. Straight up money, God's in charge of how that will happen, the resources that you need, and then the final card is Rochelle, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart. Okay, Cancer. This is so cool. So as you shift the way you're thinking, and some of you may be starting a new job that's actually going to be opening you up to new dynamics that are moving you closer and closer to what you want to experience, because there is a new partnership to be had. That's the opportunity Daniel is Daniel is offering you. That could be that new job. When you go and you get a job, you marry yourself to that dynamic. And then there's the money card in the form of Serena. I have to think actual money, resources, dynamics are going to ease up for you. And now just keep following your heart. Keep that dual lane kind of thing going, Cancer, where you're in a job where you're allowed to make enough money, or you get enough money so you feel a sense of security, but you don't make so much money that you aren't hungry for your dream. So you keep going for your dream and you keep that dream alive. That's what Rochelle is. As you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, harmonious wealth is coming. That dream is starting to come true. All right, guys, let's go on to Leo. All right, my Leos. What does angels and God have to say for you this week? Our first card is Layla. The second is Ray. The third is Caressa. And the final is Athena. Okay, my little lions. Layla is always my walking meditation. She is the angel that says, as I spend time in nature and I'm walking around and I'm looking and I'm talking to God about my intentions and my desires. And sorry, my hair is doing something and I can't do the camera thing right. Okay, sorry. Okay, so as I spend time in nature and talk to God, and this is not like, and this is not a worry walk. This is not a fretting walk. It's more about getting deeper into your desires, and your desires without all the murk of whatever obligations that you have right now, whatever dynamics you think you have experienced. I feel like I need to push all that away. Take a chalkboard and erase it. There'll still be dust from what's been written before, but it doesn't necessarily have to be forefront and seen, because Layla is asking you to take this walk to help gain perspective on a situation. And I have to think that's true, because Ray is in the opportunity or the obstacle, and Ray talks about yoga and exercise being essential to your well-being, but she's sitting in a meditative position and she is connecting with her power center, my power center chakra, sorry, I couldn't find the word, which is represented by the color yellow, with her heart chakra, represented by the color green, with how she speaks to herself, the throat chakra, represented by the color blue. And all of this is being ascending up into the heavens with her desires in an Om position. And so Layla is asking you to walk in nature, because nature is God's way of being able to communicate back and forth with you, have a conversation as you see elements, and it triggers thoughts and things in your mind. Then as you lovingly, as Ray offers, go up through your power center with your desires to spirit, because you're coming, I've got in the Angel's Advice, I have Caressa saying that you're coming to the end of a chapter in your life, and that may feel a little lonely right now, or it may feel daunting in some way, and in doing so, know that that bigger thing that you want to experience, that deeper pull and yearning of your heart, it's important for you to experience it, because I do have Athena here in the last position saying, it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself. Lovingly assert yourself. It's not about making someone else wrong. It's not about you being right. It's not about the situation being wrong. Sometimes, changes in our life come just because we've evolved, and the dynamics that we're in, they just no longer serve our happiness. They've dulled things down a bit, or they lack inspiration. So I guess what I'm trying to say for my Leos this week is to connect with Spirit and to allow Spirit to give you the courage to be inspired by your own life, your own dreams, your own dynamics. And if for some reason you feel stuck, you don't even know what your dreams are, you don't even know what you want to experience, then just giving yourself permission to be in the neutral zone, to not judge yourself for this fork in the road. I mean, every once in a while when we're going somewhere, we have to stop long enough to look down and see where we're going so we can take the next step to get to the next turn to make that left. Right? Left, right? Gotcha. Okay, let's go on to Virgo. Aren't I cheeky today? Don't know what that's about. I didn't get any sleep last night. The hills were parting till 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, enough of that. Virgo, what's up for you this week? Alrighty. Our first card is Isabella. The second is Teresa. The third is Estera. And the final is Akasha. All right, my Virgos. Isabella says that, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectation. Teresa says stop worrying. Worrying is like a cog in the wheel, blocks things. That's in your opportunity or obstacle. Estera says you deserve the best. Reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires and don't compromise. And then I have Akasha. Akasha is the spiritual teacher card, and often she'll talk about a person having a way with others and being able to counsel them and teach them. But to me, as a collective, I believe that Virgo, you're by nature a very dependable, practical earth sign. My grandfather was a Virgo. My dad was a Virgo. A lot of my brother-in-law is a Virgo. And these are people who pretty much know where they want to go and how they're going to get there. So what I think's been going on now is that you're learning, Virgo, this week that as you walk into a new venture, you may not always know how it's going to play out because it's new. New relationship, new job, new neighborhood, new dance class, not knowing the people. So as you relax your worry of what could potentially be wrong, go wrong, be unpleasant, and instead go to the story what Estera offers you of, wow, this could be really fun. I've never walked into a salsa class by myself, but here I go. And then you learn something about yourself, Akasha. And I think that gives you an opportunity to be braver in things that are more vulnerable, areas you're more vulnerable, in your financial body, you could be very vulnerable. And as you take little steps to allow yourself to build that muscle of confidence, that when you want something, rather than worrying that it won't come about, instead allowing that it's going to come about, it's just a matter of time and tenacity. And, what does Oprah say? Opportunity meets preparedness equals luck. So enjoy the ride this week. Know that you're being reminded of a part of you, Virgo, that is already inside of you. You already really know how to do this on a soul level. So allow yourself to reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires, to observe your worry as a form of prayer that doesn't serve you because it puts your attention and your intention in the very experience you don't want to have. And then thank God and the angels for giving you the heart to be able to surrender your nerves, your worry with peace. Okay, let's go on to Libra. Happy birthday, Libra. And for you, those of you Libras that are watching that are aware of we had a new moon this last Monday. And those of you that had birthday 2 or 3 days around that new moon, it's in the first house of self. There's going to be a lot of interesting changes, fun things that you'll discover over this next year, and maybe adventures and permissions that you're going to give yourself. It is my solar return as well, not till next week. But those that are on the new moon in Libra, having your birthday there, new moon, new beginnings, new opportunities, new excitements. So stand in anticipation of that. Okay, so let's go and see what the angels have to say for Libra this week. Our first angel is Isabella. The second is Rosetta. The third is Grace and Antoinette. And the final is Layla. Okay, so it's so funny. So I started the video talking about Venus and Mars squaring and Venus going retrograde. Venus rules Libra. The minute I looked at this spread, I almost felt like, in some respects, Libras this week may have, pardon me, how can I put this? I feel like that Venus-Mars square might get up your grill a little bit, and you might not necessarily be because you're so much annoyed with somebody else, as you may be annoyed with yourself as how you responded to somebody else. Because I have Isabella in the foundational position saying, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. But then I have Rosetta, and then I got Grace and Antoinette. Rosetta is a card of children, and Grace and Antoinette is a card of compassion. And I thought, oh my gosh, did I act like a child? And I need to have compassion for myself. Because I got this distinct feeling for Libra that there's a subtle frustration to the energy this week for Libra, I guess is what I want to say. And that maybe there are some things that are still brewing, still gestating in our lives, and yet they haven't been pushed over the other side. And it was kind of a summer of delays and struggles with action because Mars was retrograde, Saturn was retrograde. So this week I really think that there should be an inner knowing. Isabella's saying, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. Relax. Have a childlike innocence. And if you have a childlike tantrum because things haven't moved forward as quickly as you like, it's okay. It's actually okay. It's really not about the tantrum. It's about the depths of the tantrum. Because if you allow yourself to have a tantrum when you're just feeling a little bit icky and you don't try to hold it down for too long, it won't become an explosion. Because I have Layla in the final position, and Layla, again, is my walking meditation. So for me, like if I get concerned about money or I've had a couple of slow days or whatever, and I always know it's going to get busy again, but I always have that little tinge of weirdness, and then I'll take a walk, and next thing you know, I'll see bunnies everywhere, or I'll see a lizard without a tail, and just little things, and I'll know, okay, lizard's tail grows back, bunnies are prolific, and then I surrender my fears, and then Spirit miraculously inspires somebody to call and book a session, and then it just, the energy starts to move that direction. So this week, it is our birthday month, and, maybe we would like to feel a little bit more jazzy about it maybe this week, but, it's okay. Be gentle with yourself and just know that whatever you put out into the universe that you want to birth over this next year and experiencing this next birthday year, it's coming about. So have that childlike innocence and compassion for yourself if you get a little snarky with yourself. Or with others. And then say you're sorry, I guess. Okay, let's go on to Scorpio. Come to think of it, I was kind of snarky because they were up all night, having a good time. And then once I woke up, I couldn't go back to sleep. And I called the hotel twice, once at 2 o'clock in the morning and then once at 9 o'clock this morning. And I tried to be really nice, but I will admit I was on the edge of because it's been a year of noise, a year of craziness, and it doesn't seem to be stopping. It's just taking a different form. So this is what I mean, Libra, when I'm saying be compassionate with yourself. We all get cranky, and when I don't sleep, I'm a little cranky, I'll admit it. Okay, Scorpio, it's your turn. Okay. Celeste is our first angel. The second is Yvonne. The third is Archangel Gabriel. And the final is Astera. Okay, Scorpio. I really believe that Celeste is talking about a shift in the way you're thinking. Venus is retrograde in your sign. And I really feel like to live a happy life is the way that we view life, the way that we think, the way that we process the experiences that come to us. So even though Celeste talks about a happy move to a new home or a new place of employment, I really believe that's a shift in my mind. And I have Yvonne here. And on the face of the card, she talks about having a bond with animals, but it's always hit me as something to be vulnerable to. Being vulnerable to a deeper truth of what I want and allowing my mind, Celeste, to shift into that deeper truth. Why do I want this particular job? Why do I want this particular relationship? And really digging deep, Scorpio ruled by Pluto, getting into the depths of what your heart really wants instead of what you think your heart wants. Because I also have Archangel Gabriel in the angel's advice, and that's about insecurity. She's asking you to turn over whatever concerns, trepidations, insecurities you have. And that's about the bigger picture. Maybe not even about this particular situation. Maybe this particular situation is out of balance and you're used to it, but at least you know what it is. And somehow Celeste is asking your mind to shift into the unknown, to a bigger version of yourself, to a version where you win more often and you feel good more often. And it's going to require Yvonne's vulnerability and you turning over any insecurities to Archangel Gabriel, because Astera is here at the final position saying, you deserve the best, reach for the stars, and don't compromise. And that not compromising is not about being stubborn with somebody else. It is a tenacity within your own heart that says, I know I wouldn't have this desire if it was not possible on some level for me to make it come true. And the only thing that's really blocking me is my belief in myself, is in where I sit. Celeste, what do I think? So if you can't get out of that fear, if you can't get out of the hamster wheel of what if and all that negativity, then do something nice for yourself. Get a massage. Pamper yourself in some way. Just let yourself turn the volume down for a few minutes, Scorpio. Just say, if you want to chew on that dynamic, okay, I can do so, but let me just give myself a half hour to take a shower and wash it off a little bit, or take a walk. And then you can go back and chew on it a little bit more if you really want to. I think that'll help you start to unravel what feels like that hamster wheel. Okay, let's go on to Sag. What do the angels have to say for Sagittarius this week? Our first angel is Bridget. The second is Rosetta. The third is Grace and Antoinette. And the final is Aurora. Okay, so I talked about Mars squaring Venus for the next couple of days. That's a challenging energy. People may be impatient, snarky, reactionary, taking no prisoners in their communication in some way. Because Sagittarius, I have Bridget in the first position, and she is a card that says look deeper into a situation. And before moving forward. And I think that's coming through for my communication. I kind of feel like I'm going to have to take a count to 10 kind of thing, maybe. I have Rosetta and Grace and Antoinette in the same dynamic that I had for Libra. And that's Rosetta in the opportunity of the obstacle and Grace and Antoinette in the angel's advice. And I think that Sag, you may pop off at somebody this week, or you may be really irritated, or somebody might pop off at you and you have, a reaction to it, and it's not really the way you like to show up. It was just more like everybody's having a tantrum. And if indeed you don't pop off and someone popped off on you or was snarky or rude or condescending or whatever the case may be, as you look deeper into their ego and their issues rather than just absorbing their communication, I think you'll be able to rise above it. And in doing so, you will set an example. I kind of feel like it's just kind of a week where the energy between, there's just sort of a... in the United States, the days are getting shorter and it's getting darker now. And I think that has something to do, too, with us feeling like wanting to end the day and move on to something else. I just get this very strong feeling that people around you may be very unconscious and saying weird things or behaving in a certain way, and it's irritating you and rubbing up against you. And I'm not asking you to have compassion for them, but for yourself during the process. And by having compassion for yourself, maybe then you'll be able to see the ego inside of them, the bruised child, the person who wants to be important and maybe doesn't feel important. And then by not reminding them that they're not important, but instead kind of just managing it in a more diplomatic way, I think that's how you'll be able to set an example for others and maybe even change the tone or the pace of the dynamic, the relationship, the situation. Okay, let's go on to Capricorn. What do the angels have to say for you this week? of Archangel Michael, Akasha, Chantal, and Isabella. Well, Capricorn, how fun is this? I feel like Archangel Michael is saying that he is with you, that he is guiding you, protecting you, and giving you courage to step into some new dynamics within yourself and within your lives and your relationships and your yeah, I'm going to go relationships here because I have Chantal. There is a feeling here. Interestingly enough for me, I want to put it this way, Capricorn, I almost feel like you're learning something about the fine art of romance. And I don't necessarily mean hearts and flowers. It's very romantic or very engaging, even in a business relationship, when somebody listens to what you have to say with attention. When they look you in the eye, they nod appropriately, they give you a certain amount of feedback, acknowledging that they have actually been listening. Because when I look at this, there's something about your relationships, and again, Capricorn, there's I don't know how many millions of you out there that could potentially be watching this, having the courage to look at yourself and sort of decide, I'm going to show up the way I want to show up in all situations. I have Akasha, the spiritual teacher card. It's the spiritual counselor card. And then I have Chantal in the Angel's Advice, which is the resurgence of an existing relationship or a new romance coming in. But I really feel like that is about Capricorn kind of falling in love with themselves because of the way they've handled a situation differently than they have handled it in the past. You have Isabella saying, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectation. So what I want to say overall is I don't know that there's a venture per se, an outward endeavor for Capricorn, but more of an inward endeavor. It feels like by being more empathetic or more present in your interactions with others somehow teaches you as well as others things they didn't know about you. And I feel like it's a very positive shift because it's kind of like it's a disarming shift. It's almost as if people are taken aback and then engaged because of the way you're showing up. I don't know. I just give it like I get it. All right, let's go on to Aquarius. What is up for Aquarius this week? All right, Aquarius. The first angel is Sonia, and Sonia represents a deceased loved one, saying that they are safe and happy on the other side. And for me, oftentimes it represents your guides and your angels because we're talking to such a large group of Aquarians. Not everybody has somebody necessarily on the other side that they're aware of in the form of a deceased loved one. We all have a team of guides and angels and master guides that watch over us, that we have contracted with in this lifetime to come and to go in certain chapters, and those that are meant to stay with us through the whole journey. And that's another topic we can talk about later. But because we're in the Angel's Advice, in the Opportunity or the Obstacle, I have Rosetta, and this is the third time in a row she showed up in this exact place. So if you feel like a child this week, you feel a little bit, missing your mommy or wishing you weren't such a grown-up this week, or just wanting to have that childlike innocence that doesn't have to worry about the bills and all the adult responsibilities. Because I've got the spiritual teacher, Akasha, in the Angel's Advice. And I almost feel, when I look at this, like a surrender of some kind to the exhaustion of being a grown-up allows spirit to move in and come in almost like a parent and give you an experience that shows that you are being supported. I have Caressa in the final position saying you're at the end of a life cycle. Call upon your guides and your angels to comfort you during this transition. So if indeed there is something that's breaking away, that is ending, that is transitioning out, or there is a dynamic that you've been wanting to bring in and it hasn't actually come in yet, a certain amount of surrender to it. And then I want to offer this to Aquarius. If you can manage to put yourself in the space of what it feels like to have attained the dynamic, whether it be, experiential resources, whatever it is you're wanting. And as you say to your guides and your angels, thank you for allowing me the childlike innocence to believe that you are there and trusting, and that's when I think that you'll start to see something golden, and you'll start to feel, maybe you'll get goose flesh, or you'll be driving down the street and suddenly you'll see something out of the corner of your eye, and it'll be some sort of confirming, yes, we got you. Because I think it's important to suspend. Aquarian can be a little scientific. You're ruled by Uranus. You're not the most emotional sign. And so there may be, again, that sort of having to do. And the angels are saying, no, be. Be in the energy of what it is you want to experience, and then turn over the doing to us in gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's go on to Pisces. All right, Pisces. My first angel is Shanti. The second is Chantal. The third is Maya. And the final is Celeste. Okay, Pisces. I think this is about relationships this week. Shanti is the angel of peace. She offers peace and a smoother road ahead. But before that peace can come in, whatever has been disrupting that peace must move out. So there is a surrendering to the relinquishing of a dynamic. I'm not saying that it has to end and break up, but there is a relinquishing that must be taken in what your expectation of it is. That's what I think that is. I have Chantal in the opportunity or the obstacle. This is a straight up romance card. It's either bringing in a new romance or the resurgence of a seasoned romance. I have Maya, the card of schooling and education. For me, this is always energetic education. We're all just human beings doing our best to fumble around this earth. And when we couple up with somebody, we tend to, in the initial stages, just see all the perfection of the things that we love. And then, when the real person starts to reveal themselves, which honestly, guys reveal themselves like straight away. If we would just let them be human, not, grandize them and put them on pedestals, and we don't need to go on pedestals, I think we would learn something about our love lives. I think that for Pisces, what I'm seeing this week is an opportunity to see myself and the kind of partner that I am, and how do I show up, and what are my expectations, and am I expecting more from myself in the relationship? Am I expecting more from them? Or am I not expecting enough? There's a Celeste here, which talks about a happy move to a new home or a new place of employment. Again, for me, that can be a physical move for some of you, but really for the majority, I think it's a focus. It's a, how do I view the situation? What am I really seeing? Because, we take our actions based on our beliefs, on what we feel about ourselves. If we're confident, we walk into that party, it's a great time. If we're shy and we're insecure, it may be torture because we think everybody, is judging us in some way. And so there's the one experience, two different dynamics. Your peace of mind, Pisces, will come via Shanti through a shift in the way you're thinking, Celeste, about romance and about intimate relationships, and about how are you showing up in a way that's authentic? Because sometimes we do nice things for other people because we're trying to get them to do something that we want them to do, and that's not really authentic, and that's not really truly an altruistic, loving act. So, and I'm not saying that all Pisces are doing this. I'm just saying that Spirit is really asking us to get to the root of where our disruption in our peace in our relationships is. And as we allow ourselves to look a little bit deeper, then we just have that compassion for ourselves and do the best we can do moving forward. All right, that seems to be it for this week. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I didn't say or remember from earlier. I don't think so. Okay, everybody. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guide, and empowerment coach. And if you'd like to learn more about me, my services, or to book a private session, please feel free to go to my website at www.terihunter.com. That's TERIHUNTER.com. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you next week. And I'll be a little bit older than I am this week.